Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video we are doing the final part, the final installment of the little bit of a mini series, I suppose you could call it, that I've gone here of different bits of clips from their American trip. So anyone who's sick of the American stuff, this is the last one, so you don't have to endure much more of it. But yeah, I suppose the first, there's a few different parts of this video. First part we're out on this beef farm. Second part, we're going to be at a John Deere dealer, and then the third part, there's a bit of footage then of a really nice big John Deere working. So you'll see that towards the end of the video. So why am I voiceover on this? Well, it was really windy on the day, and the camera you couldn't really hear what I was saying. Even when I stepped in the shed, it's quite open, and there's a hell of a breeze blowing up through it, and the audio footage is really bad, so hence why we are doing the voiceover on it. So, Weber Beef is situated, that's the farm we're on, situated along Route 92, about an hour from where we stay, or where we were staying. It's not the first time we've visited this farm. Many times in the past. We're very friendly with the people who own it, and we tend to try and call we didn't call the last time we're out there, but we call most times we're out there. We give them a shout, see how they're getting on, see what's happening, and we also always get a bit of a tour. Well, they always tell us to take our own tour and walk away and have a little bit of a look around. So that's what we were doing. Weber Beef have, I suppose, the housing, they can house somewhere around 4,000 to 4,500 head of cattle, mostly in they've some slatted sheds, but they also have a lot of like outwintering pads, we'd call them, or places where you can just feed the cattle outside. When we see some of those a little later. But yeah, the feed is pretty much the same as the previous place. Maize is the biggest the biggest source of energy that they have. That and that byproduct that they have from it's a byproduct from making the ethanol. So that's the major two things. There is some maize silage in this, corn stalks, and then whatever other feeds that they have on the farm. But
up here at this shed,
it's lovely setting. I just took a little bit of footage there, just kind of looking out across the actual farm. This big shed, the main shed, is quite elevated, hence why it was so windy. But the rest of the farm then is slightly lower down and a little bit more shelter to it. But it's a really nice setting to it. Cattle, I just went around the other side because the sun was coming in that way. It's lovely beef cattle. These, again, pretty much the same as the last cattle. They're all like an Angus cross, Hereford cross in some of them as well. But you can see them. They're just they're doing well. They are doing well. But yeah, the shed itself, this shed here, I can't remember how many cattle it holds. I think it holds over 1,000, because it's a big shed. You see, I'm just driving down through it. It's a big shed. Again, wooden like the other ones. That seems to be the way they go a lot of the time. This is some of the outwintering pads that they have that I've spoke about. Yeah, there is a place here, you can see it, a sheltered area where cattle can stand in if it was raining or that. But yeah, it's very simple. It's really like a dirt floor on it. There's feeding boxes there on the outside, and it's really simple. This actually, I kind of just drive around a couple of there's a few of the smaller ones they have, but they've big ones then that would hold like a couple of hundred cattle as well, which I just didn't get any footage of. I should have took a bit of footage of it, but I didn't. But yeah, this is just some cows that they're finishing. Some of there's some name tags on the cows, so somebody thought enough of them to put. I can't see them now. I think one of them was Daisy or something like that. Somebody thought enough of them at some stage to put a tag on them and name them. And yeah, but yeah, that's kind of the outwintering pads. Simple enough setup. And wouldn't really work with us because of our climate. We've too much rain, and cattle just get soaking wet all the time. Found it with the cold, and we end up playing with pneumonia and all different issues. But over there, it's a dry cold, and it just seems to work. Where the cattle sit and lie, it never gets that wet and mucky. So Okay, so we've moved away from the farmyard and the feedlot now, and we were chatting to them. They said they were coming out to do some cutting, and they invited us out to see how they were getting on and see what was happening. So we took them off on the offer. Here we are. So they're cutting away here just behind me. Yeah, they have 2,000 acres of corn altogether to cut, and they're down to the last 250, 300 acres, so they're going quite well on it. They have also got soybean. It's all harvested and finished with as well. They have a case combine, and they have a large quad track New Holland and a big chase up in. So yeah, I've got some drone footage already, and we'll put all that up now in a moment. You can see here, after the cutting is finished, lots of corn stalks all chopped on the ground, and what's left of the ear of corn, not much. It's all been harvested off, but this one's actually quite small. A lot of them are bigger than that. But yeah, you can see them there, all harvested off. Yeah, some farmers do bale up the corn stalks, but I know Weber's here that we're with, they do bale some of them up. They use it as it can go into the feed as a roughage, and it can also be used as a bedding, but they don't need it all. So I suppose there's so many acres that they'll bale up every year, just what they need, and the rest then is chopped and left to rot and cultivated back down. So yeah, but yeah, coming back round now, I'll just set the I'll get the drone up, get another bit of footage, and yeah, I can see how they get on. Alright, so we just stopped off here at a John Deere dealer close by where we are staying, and it's Holland Farm Equipment, formerly known as Prairie Farmer. Alright, so we just stopped off at a John Deere dealer here close to where we were staying. The dealer is Prairie Farmer, formerly Holland Farm Machinery, and they have very limited tractors in stock, but just the one here that jumped out of me was this 8R410. Absolute beast of a machine. It has been used, so I don't know whether it's a demo model or what, but it has been used, and yeah, an absolute beauty of a machine. Not very much stuff in stock. I don't know, the last time we were here 3 years ago, the yard was full of tractors, but stock must be an issue here as it is back home, and getting stock. Big header here, grain header, 40 foot. No augers on this here, it's all belts taking it into the middle. It seems to be the way over here with a lot of the headers for yeah, there's less loss of beans with cutting it this way. Some of the headers at home is moving that way as well. But yeah, absolute beast of a machine. The 410 or dual wheels, which is kind of the norm here. Big drawbar on it. Doesn't look like the PTO was ever used on it. Still has the cover on it. Lots of SCVs. It's a 30 mile an hour model, so 30k or 50k should I say. And yeah, beauty. It is the signature edition. Just looking into the tractor itself, it doesn't have the Command Down Pro, but it is auto power. It has got the deluxe seat on it, and it's got a fancier radio than what you can get at home. All leather seats and a leather package on it as well. Footrest here as well, which is a little bit different, but yeah, much bigger cab than the 6R series. Yeah, so absolute beauty. A couple of the small tractors, these 5 series, which are basically used over here for cutting grass and doing a bit of tidying up around the farm yards. They also have sprayers here, Hagie sprayers, a few of them there in stock. Small amount of second-hand machinery, but yeah, very much down on stock compared to what they had in 2013. There's another, this dealer here is in Dixon, Illinois. There's another dealership which is 20 miles from here in Princeton, Illinois, and they're pretty much the same. Very, very limited amount of tractors, and yeah, it must be just trouble getting stock. But anyway, so small look at just the tractors that they have in stock.
Alright, so on to the last bit of footage that I have of the American trip, and this was actually taken on the way back to the airport. So we were heading home, and we had left our base at the residence we were staying in, and I just happened to spot this out in the field about, could have been 5 or 6 miles away from where we stay, and I said, okay, I've got a wheel in here, I've got to get a bit of footage of this, because yeah, it's not every day that you get to see one of these beasts in action. It's a 9620 RX, so 620 horsepower. These used to be, I don't know if they still are, but they used to be the biggest of the Deeres, the biggest you could get. But look, I'm sure now they've got bigger ones. 960 horsepower. Sorry, 960. 620 horsepower. And there's 960, be a bit of a beast. Yeah, 620 horsepower, and there's probably a bit of boost in there as well. But yeah, really nice to see it in action. It's a quad track, as you can see. It's doing some cultivation work. There's a tank on the back of it. I'm sure they're putting down fertilizer or something as well as the thing is going on. All GPS controlled and self-drive down the field, and all the bells and whistles will be on it. So yeah, lovely to see it in action, and just a wee bit of a nice little icing on the cake to see it when we were coming home. It's quite ironic that when we were coming to see this going home, because the very first day when we got there, the first tractor that we seen up close was a 9. It was like a 9560 or something like that. Similar tractor, but just not as much horsepower. So yeah, it was nice to see this then on the way back to the airport. Yeah, great trip. We were there just for a week, and as always, the week flies by because the first day you kind of lose it. You lose it traveling over. Second day then, or the last day, should I say, you kind of lose it coming back. So it goes really, really quick. But yeah, great trip, and it's the first time we've been over since 2019. So this is the third and final part, as I mentioned, of the American videos, and it's going to be interesting to see how this video does because the first part that I put up done about, I think around 15,000 views it's done, which isn't great for what I usually get, but any of these videos usually don't do as high views. You know, it's not your usual content, so I don't ever expect them to do well. But the second one I put up, it just absolutely flopped because I got a lot of American comments on it, and I must have been getting a good few American views as well. And there was actually a block put on my YouTube, so I don't know whether maybe some of you may have noticed that it was kind of missing in action for a few days. It was blocked for 3 days while Google were investigating it, and then the investigation come back all okay. But I think they thought I was doing something funny to try and lock on to the American views and try and get the better revenue of the American views and all that. So which I wasn't trying to do. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one here does. Hopefully it'll be back to a bit more normal view count. But yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the little bit of American mini series, and hopefully we'll get back again next year and get some more footage. Don't forget, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit the sub button, leave a like in the video, comment down below if you have any questions, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.